staan nou met papi. Staan nou met papi en kyk vir my.
We are in the industrial town of Nkepile Park, south of Johannesburg, where police say a 3-year-old boy suffered unspeakable violence at the hands of the very people who were meant to protect him. It is a disturbing story that has to be told. This is Checkpoint, and I'm Nkepile Mabuse. Hello from Nkepile Park, south of Johannesburg. Today we share with you a video leaked to Checkpoint producer Megan Lubka. In it, a 3-year-old boy is tortured with an electric taser, allegedly by his mother's boyfriend. The incident was filmed by the child's uncle. He says he wanted to provide proof that would force the authorities to intervene and save the child's life. But police say he's equally to blame. So they've charged him, the child's mother, and the mother's boyfriend at the time with attempted murder.
Playgrounds, laughter, love. Picture-perfect images of a joyous childhood. But for thousands of children in South Africa, the reality is very different. Quite the opposite, in fact. According to Childline, 1 in 4 is emotionally and physically abused by the very people meant to protect. One case in southern Gauteng has left experts horrified.
This is definitely a unique case because I have investigated several child abuse cases, but this case is unique due to the fact because a taser, electric taser was used that I have never found previously in such abuse.
Witnesses say this 3-year-old boy, we shall call Michael, was repeatedly subjected to appalling violence at the hands of a man his mother trusted, her lover.
The boyfriend, he hit the child on the head with a fist. He slapped him through the face. He kicked him out of the door.
He used planks, kettle cords, his fist sometimes to hit the boy.
So we were just trying to make him scared of it.
In an exclusive interview with Checkpoint, Michael's mother explains why a taser was used on her toddler and why the man accused of attempting to kill her son remains the center of her universe. In the US, Britain and Australia, taser guns are commonly used by the police to subdue suspects resisting arrest.
Back! You better back it up! You better back it up!
In this video, an officer in Atlanta, Georgia, deploys it on a woman who had become aggressive and violent at a shopping center. The device discharges an electric current to cause temporary incapacitation. Taser International asserts that the taser is safe for use on anyone weighing 27 kilograms or more. But its use is controversial, illegal in some countries, and classified as torture by the United Nations. Here in Nkepile Park, an industrial town south of Johannesburg, a low-voltage taser torch was used on a 3-year-old, apparently to stop him bedwetting. In this exclusive footage, leaked to Checkpoint, the boyfriend of Michael's mother is heard scolding the boy.
Thomas, kom. As jy weer in jou bed pis, gaan ek vir jou bliksem. Het jy vir my?
This video circulated in the community for a month before social workers at the Dutch Reformed Church, or Nkepile Welfare as it is known here, were notified. They immediately took the child away. But it took 2 weeks before the police stepped in, and then another 2 before Warrants Officer Johan Reichardt was ready to make arrests. The boy's mother, his uncle, and the mother's boyfriend all lived together in the house where the abuse allegedly took place.
I have investigated several child abuse cases, but this case is unique due to the fact because a taser, electric taser, was used.
Reichardt arrived here in August to charge them with attempted murder and assault.
You see, if you look at the charges, if a taser is used, that can cause the death of a child. So we must not overlook that fact. And the other thing is, if the injuries that was visible on the child by the time when he was removed, that's definitely assault to do grievous bodily harm.
The mother's boyfriend is the police's main suspect. He was denied bail. Michael's mother and uncle were released on bail of 1,000 rand each. The boy's mother insists her lover is innocent. She continues to visit him in prison.
I would give anything to take his place right now.
You would sit in jail?
For him, I would. I have no life without him.
Welcome back to Checkpoint. I'm Nkepile Mabuse. Producer Megan Lubka spent days here in Vanderbijl Park trying to understand why little Michael's mother continued to support a man the police accuse of attempting to kill her son.
I'm just preparing some hot dogs for him so that I can take for him something to eat, because I heard that the prison food is not very nice. So I'm just taking him something nice to eat. I just want to see him smile for a change. I want to tell him that I love him and that I'm not going to go against him ever.
An hour after the visit, she is totally broken.
It was very hard. I would give anything to take his place right now.
You would sit in jail?
For him, I would. I have no life without him.
The toddler's uncle paints a totally different picture of the man she's pining for. He says the boyfriend was violent and particularly intolerant of the child's bedwetting.
The one morning he peed his bed, he waked up. The boyfriend, he hit the child on the head with a fist. He slapped him through the face. He kicked him out of the door, slammed him into the bathroom, put him in a bath. Ice cold water in the middle of the winter. Throwed him with the water. The child screams of he's getting cold. He's sitting and shaking.
A family friend says he too witnessed the abuse.
The guy was stabbing the little boy with a knife on his hand like this, because he didn't want to eat the little boy.
They believe the mother's support of her boyfriend is not out of love, but fear.
The mother is afraid of him because he's a very aggressive person, and if she doesn't do, like he asks her, go make me some coffee, and she doesn't do it in 2 minutes time like he wants it to, then he get cross with her, he throws her with the stuff, he yells at her, slaps her, choke her, throw her against the wall. It was not very good.
The uncle says he tried to intervene.
Yes, I did. I told him it's not right the way you're giving the child education and like the child growing up, and he said to me, it's not my child, he's growing the child up and he's looking after him, so I don't have a say about the child. And he's not the biological father. I took my nephew to my mother's house. I told her, listen, this guy's beating up the child. I can't take it anymore. The child is blue, is bleeding and all that stuff. And the child is screaming about pain all the time. He cannot sleep.
He says Michael's mother failed to help, so he notified Nkepile Welfare.
I did went to him. And when I told him I have a problem, the child has been beaten up, and they said to me, I must bring proof to them.
He said filming the abuse was supposed to provide the proof social workers were demanding.
I went to the police, I told them I have proof the guy is assaulting the child. They said I must come back another day because they're very busy and then they don't have a van or anything to go out and arrest the guy. And then nothing came of it.
The uncle says he too is a victim of abuse.
I told myself, this child is not going to be raised the way I was raised when I was a child. So I wanted to prevent it from happening. I tried to save the child's life.
Both the police and child welfare deny that they turned a blind eye, and investigators plan to use the video to prove that he's an accomplice. In it, the uncle is heard seemingly encouraging the abuse.
Ga staan daar met papi. Staan daar met papi en kyk vir my.
Wat? Kom hier. Draai. Kom hier. Draai. 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 Draai.
The mother's history of alleged neglect is likely to also work against her. 2 weeks after Michael was born, he was removed by Nkepile Welfare following a tip-off from a resident. In a form completed by social workers, the reasons were stipulated as follows: that the child was exposed to circumstances that may be harmful to his physical, mental or social well-being, that he suffered from physical and mental neglect, and that he may be at risk if returned to the custody of his parents. The mother denies these allegations.
In the case, they saw that there was nothing wrong with him. He had everything he needed. He was well fed. So the case just disappeared.
Nkepile refused to explain the reasons why the child was returned, saying the case is now sub judice. After Michael turned 2, the mother gave birth to a little girl. That child has been in the care of a neighbor since she was a month old.
Me and my fiance decided a long time ago, shortly a week after her birth, we decided that we don't have the money to look after her. We couldn't buy her nappies, we couldn't her milk, her food.
She hints at episodes of violence but says her fiancé never touched the children.
We like to sweep. My legs was blue on a stage, like we were fighting, like giving hits and that stuff, but that's how we like to play.
How would you describe your fiancé as a parent with children?
As my kids' father, he's perfect. You couldn't ask for any better. He always looks for what's the best interest of the children. He would never do anything to hurt them. He gives them everything he's got.
Some reports reveal that your fiancé would take planks and kettle cords and any rough stuff around the house and hit your son.
No, never. He would never hit him with anything. He gave him a hiding with a hand.
Did your son ever fear your fiancé?
My son loved my fiancé very much. There was the bond that was between those two was even stronger than the bond that I and my son had. So it was very, very strong. And this case where they're saying that he hit him with stuff and he was abusing him, that's never true. He would never hurt a hair on his head. So
why did you guys buy a taser?
My fiancé bought the taser for the torch. That was the whole reason he bought it for.
Why did your fiancé use a taser on your son?
You see, if he touched him, if he really tried to hurt him, I would have stopped it. But we were just trying to make him scared of it so he would leave it alone.
Video evidence exists that points to her possibly being in the room when the tasering happened. Police say all 3 suspects are equally to blame, equally culpable and deserving of harsh punishment. They say Michael is now in a safe place and is doing well.
That boy is in a very good condition on the stage. He's friendly, he's playing around.
He is still among the lucky ones. Very often, abuse ultimately leads to death. South Africa's child homicide rate is more than double the global average, according to the World Health Organization.
People must start getting involved. Stop being afraid to report matters. We are there, we really can protect them. If it's necessary, we'll follow the necessary routes on the end of the day. But they can phone Childline, they can phone Crime Stop.
When children are beaten, they learn to suppress their feelings.
Only 30% of children in South Africa live with both parents. Most are raised by single mothers, who experts say are getting younger and younger. Little Michael's mother was only 19 years old at the time of the incident. Child rights activists say the younger they are, the more likely their children will be exposed to the risk of abuse. A Northern Cape mother poisons and kills her 5 children. Another in KwaZulu-Natal is suspected of having used her long fingernails to assault her 6-year-old. And it gets worse. Broken ribs, a fractured skull and bleeding on the brain are just some of the injuries this Pretoria couple is accused of inflicting on a 2-year-old toddler. The director of the Teddy Bear Clinic, Dr. Shahida Omar, says a growing number of young single mothers are exposing their children to abuse.
Many of them come from very disempowered backgrounds, disadvantaged backgrounds, where they themselves have been victims of abuse, either directly or indirectly. They identify power, domination as something that is acceptable.
According to Stats SA, more than 60% of South African children live with one parent, and in nearly 80% of the cases, it is an unmarried mother. The younger they are, the tougher it is for them to cope alone with the huge responsibilities that come with raising a child.
I think what one needs to understand that a young mother often feels deprived. There's a lot of deprivation, the deprivation of being a child, of being a teenager, of enjoying all the activities and fun that young people engage with. And that is often the challenge and the frustration that a young mother has to deal with and cope with. And often the anger is then displaced or directed at the child. It's like it's your fault. I could have continued enjoying my life.
Researcher Dr. Amelia Klein says when she interviewed child rapists for her PhD, almost all of them said they were physically and emotionally abused by their mothers.
When children are beaten, they learn to suppress their feelings. And all the men who participated in my study made frequent reference to this, how they learned to hide their feelings, not to cry in front of people in case they were ridiculed. And when they start suppressing their own feelings, they start losing their feelings or their empathy for somebody else.
Society associates mothers with safety, love and care and finds it shocking that some fail to protect their children from harm. But Dr. Omar says in many cases, the mothers themselves are vulnerable.
So there would be various reasons that would contribute to that kind of behavior where the mother does not respond and protect her child or remove her child from that setting. One of the reasons would be that there's excessive fear of the partner, that the partner may violate her or abuse her. Another reason would be the economic or financial constraints where she has no place else to go to. She has no food or shelter for her child, so she would remain in this relationship. So although she's not physically or protecting her child, in her mind, there's a distorted sense of her protecting her child by remaining in this relationship so that she could provide food and shelter and that the child could have the comfort of a home.
In a country of mostly single-parent households, experts believe communities must step in to carry some of the burden.
I think we speak of the spirit of Ubuntu and that it takes a village to raise a child. If we want to ensure the safety and protection of children, we need to make it everybody's business.
It was the moment the world had been waiting for. After weeks of testimonies from neighbors and experts, Oscar Pistorius finally took the stand on day 17 of his trial. No one could have imagined a more dramatic cross-examination. Here's a look at reaction beyond our country's borders.
When we look at East Africa and West Africa, initially when the trial started, they were not interested. But once Oscar took to the stand, the West Africans and East Africans were glued to their televisions.
I care because he became a role model to a lot of people. Even there was a particular book that was written by a particular author in Nigeria, and he was the one that forwarded it. But not long before that kind of forward, he's now in court for murder case. So for me, I'm interested because I'm trying to see how that would affect the way people see Oscar.
The way the proceedings is going, yeah, really, the South African judiciary, they are doing well.
At the end, Oscar is convicted. Wow, I'll feel bad. But murder is involved. But I don't wish him being convicted at the end.
American audiences have been riveted for the past week. There has been a good deal of commentary on the differences between the South African and American judicial systems. And South Africa, I'm glad to say, has not suffered in such comparisons. NBC's legal analyst Lisa Bloom said that while the prosecutor's aggressiveness went beyond what would be acceptable in an American court, it was paying dividends in terms of showing up inconsistencies in the defendant's testimony. She also liked the South African rule prohibiting a defendant on the stand from consulting with his lawyers during adjournments. Prominent among the go-to talking heads has been Nancy Grace, a former Georgia prosecutor turned TV personality. Judge Masipa has been a little soft on the defendant, she said on the ABC network. In an American court, she said, and I quote, "If a defendant who shot somebody dead started crying on the stand, we would not cancel court. At best, we would give him a box of Kleenex and say, 'Suck it up, little sister.'" In the court of American opinion, the South African judicial system is up and the Blade Runner is going down.
While the media coverage of the Oscar Pistorius trial notches up all-time records and the long-awaited trial of Shwindliwani is set to begin, South Africa's robust judiciary and transformation process are on show as never before. As the Pistorius trial is dubbed Trial of the Century, one analyst counted 100,000 media articles and social media mentions alone on the day that Pistorius took the stand last week. During the course of the trial, there have been 6.2 million social media posts on Facebook, Twitter and the like, in the US, UK, Germany and Australia than there has been in South Africa. Judge Nkepile Mabuse, State Prosecutor Harry Nell, and defense lawyer Barry Rue are as familiar as pop stars or sporting icons across the globe. The dignified way in which Judge Masipa presides over the case and the spectacle of black South African interpreters translating Afrikaans into English for burly Afrikaans-speaking policemen are among the images which dispel stereotypes that many still carry of South Africa.
Here in Asia, the Oscar Pistorius trial is receiving unprecedented media coverage. Most Chinese state media outlets, whether print or online, are publishing regular updates about the latest developments. The Australian website news.com.au says South Africa is a nation that needs positive role models more than most and has now lost a modern-day folk hero. The South China Morning Post says the trial is putting South Africa's criminal justice system and gun culture under a global spotlight. It's drawing some parallels with the O.J. Simpson case in the United States 20 years ago.
That's all from us this week. Please stay in touch with us via email, Facebook and Twitter. And do visit our website, enca.com/checkpoint. Thanks for watching. I'm Nkepile Mabuse. Take care.